Alright, hope everyone's keeping well. Different video today. I'm going to teach us how to service your Fox 38 forks with a Grip 2 damper. If you've got a grip damper and it's not as advanced as a Grip 2 damper, don't worry, it's near enough the same process on the bleed and stuff. It's near the same thing. But for my edition, we're going to service the Fox 38 Performance Elite. So it's the one with the low speed compression, high speed compression, low speed rebound, high speed rebound. And then it's got an NA2 air spring, so there's quite some tools that you need to get to service this. I'm going to go over pretty much most of everything of what you need. You're going to need a heat gun or a blowtorch. You're going to need 20 weight gold high performance Fox float fluid. You're also going to need Fox 4 weight oil, which is done by Motorax. You need 4 weight oil. Fox in the past used 5 weight oil, but the 4 weight oil is far better. It goes through the shims and all far easier. It's more small bump sensitivity on your forks, really good stuff. 2 separate syringes for different oils. Do not mix your syringes up. I've wrote on 20 weight gold on the back and then 4 weight for this one, so don't mix both of the oils up or anything like that. A separate syringe here for your 20 weight gold. At the end you need to fill the other side up. You're going to need Loctite 243 blue, and then you're going to need Loctite 263 red, very important. Inner core valve remover tool. Socket sets, you're going to need a chamferless edge, but so as it grips onto this here and it doesn't slip. So you're going to need a size of 32, you're going to need a 28. You're also going to need a socket set of 15mm, a 13mm and 10mm for different parts on the fork. Pen, paper to write down your sentence, 2mm Allen key. Whenever you're doing the suspension work, you use this part of the Allen key. Do not use the ball end part because you could damage the parts on the suspension. Wooden dowels, so you don't scratch your stanchions when you're cleaning them inside. You need wooden dowels. You need a Fox seal driver kit for a Fox 38 fork to hit in the dust wiper seals and stuff like that. The serial number for this is 398/00/774. You can pick these up relatively cheap on Amazon enough, but I prefer getting the Fox stuff. You're talking about £50 for this tool, but it's totally worth it. And then you've got these here Fox lower leg hitting tools. These here, the serial number for this here, now these are £75 a piece, but you can get cheaper alternatives on Amazon, but I prefer getting the Fox stuff. The serial number for this is 398/00/682A, and then the other one is 398/00/681A. You're also going to need grip damper shaft clamps, and the serial number for this here is 398/00/801. You definitely need to get this here. And then at the other side, I'll give you the serial number for that too. It's 398/00/802. You cannot do the damper service without them tools. So I highly recommend getting the right stuff. You're going to need a Pedros downhill tire lever for hitting out your dust wiper seals. A shock pump, I just get the Fox one that can go up to about 300 psi. Ratchet, really strong ratchet. 12mm crow's foot. 12mm open wrench. A flat seal pick here. So get a flat edge one because you'll not scratch anything. You know, it's far easier than getting a sharp pick. For taking the variable valve control unit apart, the VVC, we're going to do that in another video, but I'm just bringing all the tools here to show you what you need. You would need shim stacks to add up to 0.76mm, so this one says 0.75, but when I add this other shim it adds up to 0.76mm, that's what you need. The gap in the PVC, you'll see when I strip it down and take it apart. And as I said, 12mm crow's foot you're going to need for a specific part on the fork. You're going to need isopropyl alcohol, and a wee spray bottle for it. You're going to need SRAM butter, so friction reducing grease. It's really good for your bushings, shock seals and more. Really good stuff. Cotton buds. You're going to need lint-free paper shop towels. Scott are probably one of the best out there. Go for them. Most important thing is safety glasses and gloves. for whenever you're using the oils and all. The oils is not good on your skin, and if you get it in your eyes, it's not good at all. I've pretty much covered everything, but see, when you're doing a full 200-hour service, I've brought these packets out to show you too the change. So for the grip, for the damper here, the Grip 2 damper, all the seals here, every one of these seals would get replaced on a 200-hour service, but we're not doing a 200-hour service. But I am going to strip the forks right down, and I'm going to strip the damper apart and bleed the system. I will change every single seal when the forks get to 200 hours riding, but I'm going to show you how to strip them down and rebuild them, where to put grease, where not to put grease and stuff. And then this is for your NA2 air sleeve here. All the seals here get replaced in a 200-hour service. And then your dust wiper seals and stuff like that. But I'm going to put these away because my seals are good enough condition where I just need to re-grease them. But I'm going to take everything apart and show you. But as you can see there is a lot of stuff. But when the forks get the 200-hour service, I'm going to teach you how to replace every single seal. But I'm also on this here video, I'm going to strip them down. The seals that's ready in, we're going to take them out, clean them, and we're going to re-grease them. We're going to bleed the damper, and I'm going to show you all the internals inside these forks. And then on the future video of the 200-hour service, we're going to strip the whole shim assembly apart and all too, and replace every single seal. So I hope you enjoy this video. I've wanted to do this for a while, but my GoPro broke, so got a new GoPro there for Christmas. Another tool you're going to need is a really high-end torque wrench. Can't stress that enough, you really need a good one. This is a digital torque wrench. These retail about £300 odd, but you're doing suspension work on your forks or anything like that, you really need a good quality torque wrench. You do not want to over tighten or under tighten. So I've went over most of the tools. I'll just leave that out of the case. And if there's anything I've missed, I'll go over it again in the video, but this is pretty much stuff what you're needing to do this here job. But always wear your safety glasses and your safety gloves and stuff like that. Before you even start taking anything apart, you want to release all the air out of the system before you start it, because these are highly pressured chambers, and things can explode if you do not. If you don't take the air out of this and you go and hit the air shaft to go and take the wee safety clip off, it'll shoot through you with enough power. It will pierce your skin, it'll go right through you. I'm running 110 psi in this here at the minute, and if you want to loosen the thing, it would just shoot through like a bullet. I'm not even kidding. They're high pressured systems like. Rear shocks too. Any suspension system out there that has an air cartridge, always release the air first. Can't stress that enough. And rear shocks, you need to be even more careful because they have nitrogen in the wee piggyback sometimes too. So right, so we're going to get started here. I hope you enjoy this video because I'm doing this to try and help you out there. Anyone that owns a Fox 38 fork with a Grip 2 damper. So we're going to get started. Alright, so first thing you just want to do, you want to get your gloves on, you want to get your glasses on. You want to go over to your fork here, and then you want to count the clicks, okay? So I always start the low speed compression first. So this is your low speed compression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clicks. That's what I have for that. So then go over your bit of paper and write down 10. And then your high speed compression is your blue dial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks. So that's 5. And you do this fully closed, and then we're going to back them out anti-clockwise to fully open all the dampers and stuff. And then you want to go down to your low speed rebound and your high speed rebound, okay? So bottom of your fork here, you'll find the settings. So high speed rebound, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 each. So write down 4 and 4. So it will kind of look like this here, okay? Then what you want to do is you want to back out these anti-clockwise. So go this here way, alright? You want to put your rebound to the open position, so that'll be the fastest. So your rebound will rebound as fastest. You want them in the fully open, okay? And stop. Once they stop, that's it. Do not try and force it anymore. And then top one here, fully anti-clockwise. pretty much all the settings are, you know, in the fully open position, right? Make sure they're all fully open, which they are. Leave your wee cap off, alright? That in here. Also what you want to write down is, so as you don't get mixed up with your damper and your air spring, what you can write down is damper side, and then your air side. So damper side, we'll put that there, put that down here, put that there. Alright, so air side, we'll take the air chamber out first before the damper, and then here's the damper side here. So the air side will be here, your damper stuff will be here, and then this is for cleaning and stuff like that. All about suspension stuff is really about cleaning and then replacing seals and stuff like that. So what you want to do now is, before you even start taking this apart, mine is relatively clean, but this is what you want to do. You want to get isopropyl alcohol, you want to spray it on a cloth, or you can spray it all over your forks, whatever you want, way you want to do it. Because my forks are relatively clean, I'm just giving it a quick wipe down. Yours is probably going way dirtier than mine. You want to clean every single part, okay, but mine is relatively clean. Because I keep my bikes in house and all, and I always keep them in good condition. So I'll just show you what you really want to do to make it easier for the video. Just spray your forks down, split the stanchions, lower legs, all over with isopropyl alcohol, and then get a sharp lint-free paper towel and just wipe everything down. Start with your stanchions first, and the reason I say that is, in case there's mud on this part and you go and get the mud and then you'll put it on your stanchion, you'll scratch your stanchion or stuff like that. Just always do your wee stanchions first, just make sure there's no hard bits stuck onto the stanchions or anything. Stanchions are expensive to replace, especially Fox ones. And just make sure everything's nice and tight, which mine is anyway. So once you have your forks kind of cleaned down, put it back in the bike stand here, right? And then what we're going to do is, we're going to turn it, we're going to lock it into place, but we're also going to turn this, make sure it's not going to hit the table, it's not. And we're going to lock it into place here. Now, before we start taking anything apart, try taking this here, we're going to release the air slowly, alright? So, get your shock pump, and then hook it up to the top of the air valve. And mine should read about 110. It's dropped a bit, so I know it's 110 in mine, so I'm going to write the 110. 110, because that's usually what I run. Yours will be different, everyone has different setups. And then what you want to do is, you want to slowly release this. And you might see these coming up a wee bit, don't not worry about that, that's totally normal. And the slowest possible, the slower you do this, it means the air gets released from both chambers equally. See where they're moving there a bit? You want to do this nice and slow. You don't want to do this fast. The faster you go, you could suck these things whole way up and it can make a nightmare job for you. Nice and slow. Because you've got like a negative chamber and a positive chamber, and you want them both to come out equally. It makes it life easier doing this. And even when you get this needle right down to the bottom, you might think that there's no air left, but I'm going to show you a wee trick I do. Because there's always air left in when the needle gets down. I'll show you what to do in a wee minute. Just bear with me. Right, so that's at the bottom. Now what you want to do is take this off. There, Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to unhook the pump. Alright, and what we're going to do is we're going to get an Allen key. We're going to set, now make sure these are in the fully open position so they'll be easier to put down, and then your rebound, make sure they're at the fastest setting. And what you want to do is you want to put your forks on a good level floor that's not going to damage any bottom part of your thing. I've got lino down, so it's not going to damage my fork. And what you want to do is you want to push down on the forks. Alright? Alright? Now when you push down, you're going to, there's a wee valve here at the top, press it, and you see that leftover air, and push down on the forks. And sometimes you'll still have that wee bit of air. Alright, as you can see there, it's just negative in the negative chamber and stuff. And then also, these wee bleed, hold them in. There could be air also trapped underneath the seals. Just hold it in for about 10 to 15 seconds. Once that's done, then you want to do that one more time. Alright. You can see there. There we go, nearly there. And then what you can do, put it back into the bike stand here. Now that we know pretty much all that air is pretty much all out, but you want to just double check with your pump. This is the most important part, by the way, getting the air out, which, yeah, we're good. It's a safety thing, because see if you have air in this and you go to take things apart, you could end up in hospital. There's a lot of pressure inside these things. Right, what you want to do is get your bike stand, turn it, loosen this off, and turn your forks about here so it's easier to get at the wee rebound button. And there's a wee screw underneath here, as you can see here. And as I say, make sure you're fully open so your fork are at the fastest setting. And then what you want to do is you want to get your wee 2mm Allen key, and then underneath here you'll see there's like a wee scrub screw, and what you want to do is put in and turn it this way, and then this will come out. There's a wee wave washer underneath, as you can see here. There's a wee wave washer. We'll take that out, okay, and we'll clean that as we go. And then the high speed rebound, just pull it off like that, it'll come off nice and easy. And then see for like the wave washer, so put everything in order as you take them off. It makes life a lot easier. And then what you want to do now is you want to loosen this nut and this nut. So we're going to need a 15mm for this side here. Make sure this way. There we go. And these aren't relatively tight, they're only like 5-something Newton meters. I'll find out the thing on the Fox's website to get the right reading for it, but they're not really tight. It's usually the crouch washer that holds it on, which I have here, which you can reuse if they're not damaged, which this one isn't. So the damper side, you want to put this nut over where the damper side is, and then the crouch washer here. We'll take the wee crouch washer out, put it here. And then you want to swap this, and you want to get the 10mm for your air side, and make sure you have the air out before you start doing this. There we go. And then that's the air side, put that one there. And then usually the wee crouch washer is stuck on at the end. Don't just pull it off, right? Go anti-clockwise if you're unscrewing something, and it'll come off far easier. Alright, and we can reuse that one. Yeah, it's okay. Usually you don't, but if they're not in too much bad condition, you can get away with it. Mine's in really good condition. Now, what you want to do next, you need to get an oil pan. So I'm going to go down and get that. I actually forgot to get that. That's one of the tools I forgot to mention. An oil basin, because it does get a bit messy. Right, so you want to get an oil basin or whatever you have to catch the oil. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this over here. Hope this helps a few of you out there. So now that both of the crush washer and the nuts are off, what you want to do is you want to get your Fox tools. I forgot to mention too, hammer. Sorry about this guys, but you're going to need a hammer with a plastic end or something, you know, you're not going to damage anything. So you want to get the thick lower leg hitting tool onto the thicker threads here for the damper side. And make sure you're right on the thread, alright? Do not force them on, they will find the threads, so it's precise engineering. Then get the other one and then go on to the opposite side for your air side. Alright, and you want to right straight in till it touches the bottom, but you want to back it out a few turns so there's a few threads showing. I'll show you in a minute in the camera what you want it looking like. So I'm hoping on the camera that you can see underneath here. We're on back this out, so there's a bit of a gap, and there's a bit of a gap up here, okay? Hopefully you can see. Just back it out into a few threads, and then what you want to do is you want to give these a good tap, and the same with this one, give it a good tap. Back it out a few. You will see these move up a bit. That's meant to happen. It's to break your damper and air shaft from the lower legs, and then you should be able to push this a bit. Once you unscrew it a bit, let's see what we like. Let's see this one. Need to do this one a wee bit. And that should be her. Yep, that's her broke free. And then we'll just double check the other one. Just to make sure. Yeah, the other one is right free. Yep. That's okay. Aye, yeah. So, what you want to do now, unscrew. Alright. And what you want to do is, see your bike stand? Loosen it and make sure you've got the oil pan underneath this here thing, alright? Wee work stand. Just take that in a wee bit. Need to loosen her off again. It should be in now. Alright, so there's the oil starting to come out. My oil is going to be relatively clean because I do look after these things like. So make sure you're fully tight here, right? And then bring this oil pan over here. Now, see that goldy oil? That's your 20 weight gold oil. It's really good stuff. Now what you want to do is, you want to get your lower legs and you want to grab firmly, push down. Alright, keep pushing. And then see that like pinky red colour? That's your 4 weight oil, and you can see mine is relatively clean. Alright, and then we're going to take the lower legs, keep pushing down. Alright, keep that. And then let your lower legs in that there basin. And let that drain out for a bit, you know. And then what you want to do is, a wee bit of this here, get a wee bit of isopropyl alcohol. Put away your stanchions. Wipe these down a bit and your damper and stuff. And same with this, wipe it down. Alright. For this next part, what you want to do is you want to get a magnet. You can use a wee park tool pick here. You get usually 3 sets and there's a wee magnet here. Alright, it's very important. Get yourself a wee plastic container. I'm going to show you why. So you want to come over your damper, alright, and make sure this is all fully, you know, to the open position. You want to get your Allen key. Hope you can see. Put your Allen key into the top and go anti-clockwise, so left to loosen. Alright, hold the low speed compression and turn this anti-clockwise, there you go. Alright. When you have this already loose, you can use the wee ball end of the Allen key, but only when it's completely loose. And then what you want to do is get this wee container open and ready, and then see wee small parts like wee screw like this, your wee wave washer and stuff. You want to put them in there, and then also you need a magnet for this part because there's a wee pallet, and you need to be very careful with this. So we're just going to slightly lift this up. It will be a bit tight at the start, okay? It's meant to be like that, and you want to slowly do this because this is not a pallet you want to lose. The wee indent ball you'll see in a minute, and slowly do this, and when you're at the end here you'll feel it. Alright, now make sure at this here part, let me see, try in here somewhere, there we go. So I hope you can see in the camera, see that wee pallet there? There's a wee spring behind it. Get your magnet, there's the pallet, and then the spring is going to come, and I'm going to show you how small these things are. Now you lose that there on carpet, and you're going to take hours to find it, trust me, because I done it before when I had carpet in this room. So drop the pallet and the spring, there'll be a pallet and a spring, and then also see when you take the low speed compression off, just press from underneath and just be gentle, it'll come off. Once you start getting it off, you see, can you just get it all underneath here. This is where we flat pick can come in handy, so it can, just don't damage anything. Alright, so that comes off, alright. Then also inside this part here, you can see there's the pallet and there's the spring, okay? They're the exact same size, so don't worry about mixing both of them up. So the spring goes in first and then the pallet, okay? And get yourself a wee plastic container, and you can see how small they are. That's to give you your clicks on your suspension. Then just close them up. Now before we take anything else apart, what we're going to do quickly is get a bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then we're going to clean our dowels. Alright, clean the inside of that old grease. Yours will be in worse condition than mine. It's just, as I said, I keep mine in very good condition. Like I do a lot of servicing these here, like through the years, top them up with oil and they last longer. That's why I'm able to change. I'm just changing the seals that's in this now. I'm just taking them off and re-greasing. They're in really good condition. But I'm doing this video to teach us out here how to do this here. And then the next one in a lot of months time I'm going to upload is taking the whole shim assembly apart on the VVC or variable valve control. That is really tricky to do, but it's good to learn it. So any of us out there that has a Fox 38.4 with the high performance grip 2 damper, I hope you will appreciate this video. I'm trying my best to help you out there. Clean the rebound buttons too, low speed rebound and stuff, and your high speed rebound. Just make sure any old grease or anything, you want to clean all that off, okay? Even if you think it's clean, just go over it again. And then before I put everything back together, I always give it an extra clean too. You know, it's just for the suspension stuff, you need to be super clean with this. And while we're doing this, them lower legs, you know, all the oil's going down to the bottom, and then we're going to spray it by isopropyl alcohol and stuff. And just make sure everything's clean, even your cap, everything. And then this part here, your wee low speed compression dial. And then what you can do is get a wee cotton bud, spray a wee bit on here, and then just go around it like that to get all that old grease out. And the same as inside. Even though you think it's clean, see, still a wee bit of dirt. And then wee parts in there, you know. But we'll do all this again at the end. Right, before we take the air shaft out, just make sure. Yep. So press this here wee valve in at the top, and then at the bottom, push that all the way up. Make sure all that air, and you can see there is a bit of suck down on it. That happens a lot on the Fox 38 forks, right? What we want to do now is we want all the air out, so we're going to release the wee valve. Alright, now, and just make sure there's no air left in it, and it's more safety. So that's that wee valve there, right? Put it down there. We'll put it in the box after, once we get this part. So what you want to do is you want to turn this like this. Alright, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this up like this. This can be a wee bit tricky. Right, what we're going to do is there's a wee clip underneath this part here. Turn this down a wee bit. Put that here. Turn this here. There's a wee clip underneath. What we're going to do is going to get the wee flat edge pick. Alright, and we're going to go underneath. I'll show you it in the camera quickly here. So the wee flat edge pick, you want to go underneath it here. And make sure you have a flat edge pick or something, or a flat head screwdriver, but make sure you do not scratch the stanchion. And you're just pressing underneath, and then once you get this underneath, I'll show you when I get it on. It's better with two hands here, but you'll get the idea of it. So once this comes underneath, right, we're nearly there. We can even get another pick, will you see, and another flat pick. So if I catch, let's see, try one more time with this thing. Right, so we're underneath now, there we go. And that's what it is. And see, once you have the tool in this part, then just start sliding and work around with it, alright? That's why you want to get a flat edge pick. And here, keep walking it around and it will eventually pop out. You do not want to scratch your stanchion. There we go, and that's the wee safety clip. If I had air in this, even if it was like 50 psi, say half of what I run, if you had that in, you take this safety clip off, this will shoot out and it will go right through you. So very important you to release all the air out before you do that. Can't stress that enough. When you're doing suspension work, make sure the air is out of the system, because these things are highly dangerous. To get this here out, there's going to be a bit of grease. I find it easier to get this here tool on. And what you want to do, test it first. Yeah, see that negative pressure in there? Now I just released it by doing that. Now what you want to do is you want to push up. Alright, while we're pushing up, we're going to push out really fast with good force. Now if it doesn't come out the first time, just put a wee bit more there, right? Now it's just going to come out. And push back and hold here, and there you go. There's your NA2 air spring out. Then unthread this. Yours might have excess grease build up. That is totally normal on these, especially if you've never had them serviced in a long time. But there is always going to be grease build up on them, you know. And then sometimes even from the Fox factory, I've seen loads of these with build up grease just from the factory. It's just over grease them. But just make sure this is completely clean, because we're going to need to put it in shaft clamps once we get the damper and all out. But what you want to do, just spread down with isopropyl alcohol first, just and give it a good wee clean, get all that excess grease off it, and then there's going to be loads of grease inside too. Do not put it in the shaft clamps without cleaning this thoroughly. I mean it, because it'll just spin in the shaft clamps if you haven't cleaned all the grease off it. And then we're just going to set it here for the meantime, and then we're going to get the damper out, which is going to be, and it is usually tight to get these off, so you need to put a lot of force. So we're going to need to get a 28mm socket in there. Sure, it's 28. Let me just double check. Yep, it is. Right, so you want to get your socket about 28mm. Alright. And we want to have enough purchase on this, so lower this down. And then what we're going to do is tighten this back up. Turn this way a bit. Make sure you've got a lot of purchase on this. If you find that's too hard to do on the stand, you can put it on the floor and do it that way. Just make sure it's a 28. Just to make sure it definitely is. Yeah. And then what you're going to do is we're going to go anti-clockwise. Right, now put a lot of downward force, and then we're going to hold. Now make sure it's tight. Right, now hold the other end of the stanchion, and then there, start by loosening. And there's a lot of threads in these, so it'll take a wee while. And once it comes a bit loose, just get the rest of the tool and do it the rest of the way. And we're near the end, right at the end now. So what you want to do is lift this up, make sure the sides doesn't scratch the side of the stanchion or anything like that. Just take it cleanly out. Alright, and this is your Fox Grip 2 damper. So put the plastic container over here, damper side. We're going to put the damper side here, and the other side's here. So this is your damper. Now, when these first came out, you were talking about close to £500 for these here. I think they were actually a wee bit more maybe. But very good dampers. They were one of the best that Fox ever designed. And I still love them, and they still run 100%. So if you still know about the Grip 2 damper, we're going to put our side over here, okay? And we're going to strip it all down and stuff. But with a Grip 2 damper, see the wee hole up here? That wee small port? This here is a self-bleeding damper, so whenever you're cycling it up and down when it's inside the stanchions, oil freely comes out and then oil gets back in and all. It's a really good system. To me, it's one of my favourite dampers out there, but Fox have now introduced a new damper called the Fox Grip X2 damper, which I hear is even more better, but these things are unreal. These things have won a load of downhill world championships and stuff, and I just think they're one of the best dampers out there. They used to run 5-weight oil in them, but now Fox uses 4-weight, and it's far better because you get far better small bump compliance and stuff like that. There's sensitivity and all. It's a real better system, to be honest. Now, once you have this out, don't push on this because oil will come out of this. What we're going to do is, we're going to clean it down. We're going to get a wee bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then we're going to clean it. Don't mind getting isopropyl alcohol in that hole because this whole thing is going to be stripped down anyway and take apart. And we're going to get all the old oil out of it, and then we're going to do a full bleed on it and stuff and show you how to do it. But this is where the grip shaft come in handy and stuff like that. So I've got that pretty much mostly clean. Right, set the damper down on a clean surface. We'll put it over here. Alright, I'll actually show you the oil coming out of it. I'm wondering can you see it on camera. Did I put this? I'll actually just show you this up. So here's the thing here, hopefully you can see on camera. So we're going to push the bottom of the shaft, and you can see here oil is coming out. Really good system, and the oil is pouring down, like as you can see it's coming out that way hole. As I mean, it's a self-bleeding damper. It's very good system. Just clean that off because that's all the oil out. And as you heard there when I pushed that through, you want a silent damper. If you hear a lot of noise in a damper, it's not a good thing. So we're going to set that there for the time being. Clean that wee bit of spillages there. Now what we can do, because most of that oil, you know, out of lower legs and stuff, you know, just letting it drip, but we are going to clean all the oil out of it. Because I'm reusing these dust wipers, I'm taking these here off. The wee dust wiper sealed springs, we're going to take them off. And also, So your damper side's on the right hand side, so you want to get your foam ring that's on, because he's soaking 2 different oils, okay? So get your foam ring underneath. Be careful not to rip them. Where's that other one? Where's that other picking? Alright, be careful not to rip it. But if you're changing these here, you don't need to worry about ripping them, but I am reusing them because they're in good condition. Alright, so set that over there. So that's the damper side. So what you want to do is you want to get a plastic container. Right, so you want to get your plastic containers, alright? So this one here is the 4-weight oil. So that will be the damper side, which is your right hand side on the lower leg. So your right hand foam ring, you want to soak that in isopropyl alcohol, and then you want to put 4-weight oil, soak it in. But we're just going to leave that for now. We're not going to soak it at the minute. Just leave that in there so you don't get mixed up. Make sure you write it on the containers. 4-weight oil for the damper side, and then this one is your 20-weight gold oil for the other foam ring, so you don't get mixed up, because these soak in 2 different oils. The air side takes 20-weight gold and the damper side takes 4-weight oil, so it's very important you don't mix these up. There we go, you're there. And as I said, you don't need to really worry if you are doing the changing the whole, you know, the dust wiper seals and stuff, because yours will probably be completely black, but mine's in really going to get a good condition, so I don't really need to worry about that. But I'm reusing these. So what you want to do to take these out, you need a Penrose downhill tire lever or an open end wrench, but I prefer getting a downhill tire lever that's not too sharp, and then you'll press on it to get it out, which I'll show you here now. So get it on a nice level floor, and then here push down and push up, and there's one out. And then the same with the other side. Make sure you're putting even pressure, and there you go. And these are okay to reuse because they're in good condition. But I highly recommend, if you are doing this, get brand new dust wipers, because more than likely yours is probably going to be in bad condition. Sometimes when you hit these out, there's wee springs underneath. Sometimes they can go down into the lower legs, so always inspect that the wee springs are here and they haven't went down into the lower legs, because they can be a nightmare to get out sometimes. So just keep an eye on that. And this is what really suspension is, you know, stripping down and cleaning as you go. Make sure everything is nice and tidy and clean. It's the most important thing when doing suspension servicing, inspecting, seals, everything, the whole lot. So they're clean enough at the minute, and we're going to just let them sit there for the time being, and then we'll soak this in isopropyl alcohol once we clean the lower legs and stuff. So we'll set them both there. Keep all your workstation relatively clean. Put the magnet thing away for now, don't need it at the minute. Set it over here. So as I said, this is your damper side here, and then this is your air side. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this way, and the same kind of thing, we're going to take out the top cap air part, which is a 32mm chamferless edge you need. Do not just get a regular socket, because you will strip this. Make sure you get a good quality one. Park tool do a good set, but you're talking about, I think it's maybe, I think that set down there was near, I think it was near £200 for the full socket set, but totally worth it. Get yourself a decent socket set, and then what you want to do is push with downward force. Make sure you're always putting downward pressure. Hold the other side of the thing. If you're finding that it's like too tight or something, you can also put it in the floor and do it that way. But I'm going to just tighten it here a bit. Take it this side here. There we go. Just lock it into place. Alright, and hold and put downward pressure. There we go. And then when you're near the edge, just get your tool. Yeah, I can take the rest out of my hand. I run 2 volume tokens, so that makes your forks more progressive. You can put more in that if you want, but that's how I like it at the minute. And we're near the end of the thread, and then push up. And then here's your wee volume tokens, which are so handy to take off. Makes your forks more progressive. Traps more around and all, so it's less. It's harder to bottom your fork out when you run these in, you know. So it's a good system. And then just push it forward. This will come off, side to here, and then the same. See with this here. Push from the back, and it'll split apart. There you go. And you just want to get these a good wee clean. Just make sure there's nothing in them, no dirt or anything. And it's good to have these wee cotton buds, and then what you can do is put them all together and then give it a good hit with the isopropyl alcohol. You get a new spray bottle. This one's near done. So it is, she's near at the end of the days. Used it that much. And then get your wee cotton buds and put it in there. And the same with the other side. All wee parts where you can't really get with a cloth, just make sure every part is clean of any old oil and grease and stuff like that. And then what's handy about the cotton buds too is clean the inside the top out, which is really handy. Right, so set that there. And then volume tokens. We can all clean this near the end anyway. Again, before I install everything, I always make sure everything is clean and dry, and then put the grease where it's needed. Right, while the stanchions are completely free, if anything, get your sag indicator, take it off the stanchion. This is the only seal you do not need the grease. This is a sag indicator, you don't need the grease up. Put it up where your air side is. And we're going to put the wee valve in this part here. Also a good idea to put your wee crush washers in case you forget them or lose them. You don't want to lose them. But you'll probably more than likely replace them. Mine's in good condition, so I don't need to. So first things first. Now we've got most of everything off, we're going to strip the things down because these come apart. But before we do that, what you want to do is you want to get a wooden dowel. Make sure the wooden dowel do not get anything sharp. And what you want to do is we're going to just spray just lightly. Inside the stanchions. If this here we need it. That's right. Just want to line me up. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can just get a cloth and just pour a bit of alcohol on that way, but this is just for a wee quick clean. There we go. And then spray a wee bit on the wooden dowel or your cloth. Get your wooden dowel and put this cloth inside here just to clean any old grease. Make sure you clean the top of the threads, and then the other one, same thing. But before we install anything like back into it, we're going to double clean them anyway. This is just to get all the old stuff that's been sitting in it out. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to clean the lower legs, but before we do the lower legs, we're going to take the damper apart, and then we're going to take the air shaft apart. So we'll do the damper first, and what you want to do is you need to get it. I need to actually use one of these here, and the reason for that is I've lost one of my crow's feet to perfectly hook around this part, so I have to use this, but I'm going to order a new set of crow's feet anyway to lock around it. Get yourself relatively clean cloth, get your shaft clamps. What you want to do, you want to make sure this damper is completely clean. So you do, make sure all this oil is off. Alright, you want to spray this down well and good. You do not want this damper slipping. Alright. Now, what you want to do too is, your shaft clamps will have a bit of old grease on it, and dirt, and a wee bit of like dust. What you want to do is, you want to clean these too. Alright, it's very important that you do this, because it'll slip on you if you don't. And the good thing is, with isopropyl alcohol, it dries very quick, but it is highly flammable. Right, so we're going to put this here. And what I like to do is put in the oil basin pretty close underneath here. We're going to open the top part first, okay? So get your shaft clamp, just make sure this is completely clean. And then clamp it about here. And then get your shaft clamp, make sure the hole is facing you, by the way, okay? Just make sure this is evenly clamped up, and give it a good torque, not too tight, you know. And then what we're going to get is a 28mm socket at the top, and then we're going to get this here, and then we're going to loosen it by turning it towards this way, left, so anti-clockwise again, and push down, and once you hear that, you know it's there. Alright. And there's a lot of threads on this bad boy, so just keep doing this. You'll know when you're at the end. We're near the end. I can actually feel it near the end here. There we go. And then you should be able to lift this up a bit, okay, which we can. Now, when we lift this up, this shaft's one going to come out. Loosen this slightly, this vise, so you're not clamping the VVC, the variable valve control, so this can flow up nice and evenly. Alright, just a wee bit there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to push this up, and it's going to want to push this, right? So hold this here, okay? Now, while holding that down, push up here, make sure you have your safety glasses on. Alright, while you're holding the damper shaft at the bottom, do this here, nice and slowly. Alright, when it gets to this part, just slightly roll this and pull up slightly. Do not put a lot of force, because you could damage the seal underneath. Alright, nice and slowly. Very important. Which, there we go. And then we're going to put that there. And that's why you add extra cloth is for this part. Alright, this is your compression assembly. And then I already poured some oil out, as I showed you on the video coming out of the hole. Now tip this upside down, and there's your 4-weight oil, and then cycle your damper a few times. And try not to breathe any of that in. That's strong stuff. Really strong stuff. Now, what we're going to do is going to quickly just dry this. Just be careful not to pinch any of the seals, okay? And we're going to put the damper side here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to clean this shaft one more time, because all that oil has just been down it, and it'll slip once you put it into the shaft clamps, alright? So you want to clamp this here into the shaft clamps, but do not clamp it yet till you clean your shaft clamps again, because the oil is all over them, and it'll not work, it'll just slide everywhere. I mean, this is high performance oil after all. What you want to do is put this here. Get one of these. And then, as you can see, all that oil running down, get all that off, or your shaft clamps will not work. That's one done. And then this one, Sometimes you need heat for this part, most of the times you don't, but yours maybe from the factory if it's never been stripped down before. I'm going to try and get it off without heat, but there's blue Loctite, sometimes you need a bit of heat for it, sometimes not, but I'm going to try it without the heat at the minute. But I know that our shaft I'll definitely be needing heat for that because it's red Loctite. So one more time, just make sure that that damper is completely dry and there's no oil anywhere on it. And then get your shaft clamp. As you can see, there's still oil is coming out a bit, don't worry about that. And then clamp it relatively close, not too much, like, because you know your PVC and stuff is on this part, so kind of clamp it about here. Alright, now get a crow's foot or a wrench like this here, and then we're going to see if this is going to come off without heat. I hope it does, because I hate having to apply heat sometimes to these things, but sometimes you've got to do it. And then make sure it is in tight and hold here while you're turning. Yeah, we can get it off without heat. Or don't need any heat on it. It's good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to lightly loosen this. Don't want to have it too tight, same we've got the PVC part in it. And it's very important you clean the blue Loctite off this as best as possible. So that's it loose enough now that I can get it with my fingers. And then while it's on the last thread, then I'm going to take the most critical part of this damper out. There's going to be a wee bit of oil underneath, as you can see, a wee bit there. This is the most complicated part, you know, with taking the PVC and all apart, but we're going to do that when we get to 200 hours. But I'm going to show you some of the tools that you need to take this whole unit apart. You need cone wrenches and everything, but it's one of the best designs Fox had ever produced for that year. Absolutely fantastic bit of kit, like. So take that out there, and most of the oil is went down in that there. So what you want to do is get a clean cloth, hold at the end, and then get your spray bottle. There we go. And then do that inside. Get all that oil broke up, and then get your wooden dowel. Before you let that isopropyl alcohol drain out, get your paper towel in here. And then what you can also do, spray a wee bit on the cloth here, and then start by cycling this through. Mine only need a few passes, like, because it is pretty clean. But if yours has never been serviced or anything, it can be really dirty. That is pretty clean in there. So get your damper, put it here. Put that there. So this is your PVC. I'm going to put the damper stuff over to this part here now. So we need that over here, and that over there, because this is the damper side and this is the air side, so they stay over there. So this is your PVC. This is your fallible valve control unit here, okay? Now taking this all apart, you've got shims and all underneath, and then when you take this apart, this is your long rebound button here. This is your low speed rebound, and it's a rod that goes the whole way through. Really good system. I'm not going to strip this down any further because, as I said, I'm just bleeding the damper, and I'm taking the seals off what I have here and then just re-greasing them. But certain tools you need to do the PVC. Going to need a cone wrench. I think it's a 15mm cone wrench. Remember to lock around this part here to take off and stuff, and then this part you need a very specific feeler gauge. I'll show you here. So I'll show you what tool you need. So this is your high speed rebound, okay? We're going to turn it 4 clicks, and hopefully on the camera you can see where my finger is. See that wee leaf spring? When I turn that, that's going to go up the wee ramp here, and then that's going to make your rebound harder. Like, it's going to slow it down when you turn it this way. So when I'm turning this, that's moving. We're going to move it 4 clicks, so that's 3 and then 4, okay? So that's in the middle of the range. Whenever you're putting this back together, you need to have a gap in here of, I think it's not that 7-6mm or something, if I remember correctly from Fox's website. But you need feeler gauges to do this when you're putting this all back together. But when I get to the 200-hour service, I'm going to strip this whole thing apart and show you how to actually do it, because it is tricky if you've never done it before. Fox's website is good at showing you what to do, but it's better when you see a video of doing it. And then get your feeler gauges right, and then you want to clamp it. You know, I wonder could I clamp it in here a wee bit lightly and show you. Just lightly clamp it in here. Let's see. If I can, that is. Don't want to scratch anything. There we go. And I'll show you what you need to do. Just clamp that nice and easy. So what you'd want to do here, I'll get a light over so you can actually see. So inside, underneath this wee part here, you need to have your feeler gauge. And it needs to be not that 7.6 according to Fox's website. You want to get the feeler gauge underneath your leaf spring here and there needs to be no play up and down, which there isn't. It has to be a perfect fit for that to fit in there. I'm going to take you off the camera here, hopefully you can see. I have to use 2 feeler gauges to get it perfect. As you can see, it has to be that perfect gap in there. If not, I highly recommend do not take the PVC apart. If you do, you could run into problems and you'll need to take it to a suspension technician. Over in Northern Ireland you have MacMonkey. They're based in Boucher Road. They're a really good company. They know a lot about suspension and stuff. So if you ever needing your fork service, if you're scared to actually tackle this job on yourself, bring it down to them. Them guys know what they're doing, like. Really good service place, so it is. High speed rebound, we're going to just put it back to the fully open position, but as you can see that wee leaf spring there, the way it moves, up to 4 clicks, but we've got 8 clicks of total high speed rebound, but we'll show you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as you can see there, and then we're gonna, really good system, you know, and then there it stops it. So that's your damper apart there as a basic, you know, service, you know, changing the oil and stuff like that, and then the seals that you see here now, we're going to take them off and re-grease, you know, if none of them's damaged. They shouldn't be. Next we're going to take apart the air shaft. Next what we're going to do, we're going to take apart the air shaft, but we're going to need an NA2 Fox 38 bullet tool. I think they're about 10, I think it's 10mm or something. I'll double check, you know, on with Fox's website, but you definitely need a bullet tool for taking this apart. Highly recommend when you're taking this apart, make sure you take the seals off if you're reusing them, because you need heat to break this off, because this is red Loctite. So get a flat end pick, something that's not too sharp, something that's not going to damage the seal, and then just get the back of the seal. Hopefully you can see on the camera. I'm going to take the back of this off here. Alright, just slightly off, and then start it over the edge if we can get it off here. It can be a wee bit tricky, just bear with me, because the strong butter makes them slide on and off and stuff like that. We're going to do it this way. Just trying to get a good camera angle for you, you know. It'll be better when I get the GoPro when I'm doing the blade, because I'm going to put the GoPro on the tripod, and I'm going to put the wee Creator Edition lighting on, so it'll be better to see. And I'm going to do the video in 1080 pixels. Because I need to get a laptop to do proper video in 4K and stuff like that. The phone's just not high enough to really do it in the proper 4K, and then get the, once you have that slightly off, just pop back on. That's what I mean, Saffron butter, it's really slick. But once you get this started off here, and the reason why I'm taking my time with this, you do not want to rip any seals if you're reusing them. Alright, and then roll it here, the rest of your fingers. That's that one there. But if you have the seal, if you're ordering a seal to a highly recommend, because I service my forks all the time, I don't really need to replace the seals all the time. It's only when you get that 200-hour service. So we're going to take this one off here at the top, and then we're going to take this one off too. And there we go. And then there's a quad ring at the bottom, this quad ring seal. There we go. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, before anything, we need to make sure that this shaft is completely grease free. So make sure that there's completely no grease on at all, because this is what we're going to clamp in the face, into the shaft clamps. And then we're going to take these off again. Very important that we clean these again with purple alcohol. This part this time, I think they're 10 or 9mm shafts, this wee part in here. Can't remember exactly. And make sure that's completely clean. And then down here, open this up far enough, and then make sure that seal is off if you're reusing these seals. But if you're not reusing them and you've got the full like seal kit, don't be worrying about it. And then we're going to clamp it right there, nice and snug. Not too tight, but snug. And then what we're going to do is, I'm going to take these gloves off because I don't want to get any oil. I'm going to clear all this because this is highly flammable, this stuff. Isopropyl alcohol, so it dries quick. We're going to take all this here because this is flammable. I'm near sure it is anyway. Isopropyl alcohol, put that over there. And then we're going to plug this in, and then what you need to take this off is a 12mm open end wrench or 12mm crow's feet. You need a crow's feet to properly torque it back up with a torque wrench, but you can use an open end wrench like to take it off and stuff like that. So I'll put this here, make sure it's in the top. There we go. And then what we're going to do is, we're just going to put this on for a few seconds. Don't put it underneath the table. I'm actually going to get a new table after Christmas and stuff. Proper one, because this here one, taking it in and out, it's just a bit of it, and it's only MDF wood, it's not even proper wood like, so I want to get a proper table. So what I want to do is put this on for a few seconds, and it'll break away the red Loctite, just a few seconds, and that should be enough. If not, do it again. Which we're going to try here now. Do not touch it with your fingers, it'll be hot. Get your 12mm. Hold here while you're trying to turn that to make sure that it has broke it. You'll know if it has, yep, because this unit will not spin, and it has, it's broke it free. You need to do that with a heat gun or a blowtorch, maybe a lighter even. I wouldn't really use a lighter, but prefer a heat gun. Because there is red Loctite underneath this, and there's a lot of threads, but we're near the end of them, I can feel it. But that's what I mean, you need special tools to do this here stuff, like especially the shaft clamps. You couldn't do this job without it. Right, so we're near the end, and then just lightly touch with your finger just to make sure it's not too hot. You can take the rest off now with your fingers. It'll still will be a bit warm, but not warm enough that it's going to roast you. And as you can see there, it just broke away some of that red Loctite. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go cloth. We're going to take most of that red Loctite off, which it usually will anyway. As you can see here, the heat usually breaks it down. And then there's a wee seal here. We're going to take that off. We're going to re-grease all these seals. You know they're in good condition, you know, by looking at them. And then here, they're a wee bit tricky, once that tram butter gets on the stuff, like it's just very important that you re-grease all your seals and stuff. But as I said, you'll probably be getting new seals if you're doing this here, or if you're ever going to tackle it. I highly recommend getting the full seal kit. But as I said in the previous thing on the video, where what I said is, because I service mine that much, I know how good condition mine's in, you know. And then see, once that's all off, what you want to do is get isopropyl alcohol and clean that nice and well down. Now, to get the actual shaft out of its home, to actually get the piston inside here out, you need this bullet tool. It slides on here and push. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just slightly push down, keep pushing, push, and then push down more. And then there's your piston out, and then get a cloth ready to go. And there you go. And then the wee bullet tool will come out the other side. And then there's another quad-ring seal at the top. And that's your air piston. Really good system, like the way it sits inside an air sleeve, really good. But we're going to clean it all out, so we are. Right, so what we want to do now, we've got the air piston and all like that there. So what we're going to do is, after we took this off, we're going to take this off here, alright, and we're going to clean this off here. A bit of isopropyl alcohol. And see the way I'm doing this here, like, see the way I've got everything set out and stuff. Try and do that there. It'll make you not lose any parts, and you'll know pretty much where to go back on. But Fox show you diagrams anyway. If you're stuck, you can always look them up. I used to do that. I used to look at the Fox's website and stuff before I could actually do it the way I'm doing now, and then it's all like kind of remembered in my head. The only thing I'd need to do now and again is just double check that the torque value, that's the only thing, because you want to have the right torque. But I lost my crow's foot to torque this part up, so I'm just going to have to do that by feel, which is no big deal, like, because there is blue Loctite that goes on the anyway, but I will order the crow's foot. I don't know what I've done with. I was going to say, just make sure all this is completely clean. If any dirt or anything like that, just make sure everything is nice and clean. And then the air shaft itself, give that a good wee spray, give that a good clean. And then underneath there too, just make sure them threads are completely free of any grease or red Loctite. And now what you can do, you can take this top seal off, and get a flat edge pick. Even you can use this part too. If you don't want to use the thinner part, you can use this part. You can get these on Amazon, they're really cheap. And you just want to start it, see, whenever I'm lifting underneath, push with your thumb underneath till you get it to there so you don't rip it, and then it'll slide off. And just inspect your seals. I'm actually going to inspect the dampers ones in a minute here, because the one I might need change, we'll see. And put that there. And remember, this is your sag indicator that goes on to the stanchion, so I usually just keep that about there so it doesn't get confused with all the other seals. And then for the part in here, get a wee bit of isopropyl alcohol, wee hit there, and then get the wee cotton bud, and then just get in there and just make sure there's all dirty grease out of it. As you can see there, these things work wonders. The grease isn't that dirty anyway, but yours will probably be more like a cloudy colour, or it could be a wee bit black. If they've never been serviced before, you will see a lot of dirty oil coming out. It'll not be like a gold colour, and it'll not be like red. It could be black if it's never been serviced before. So don't be worrying about that. If you see a different oil coming out of it than what came out of mine there. It's just I relatively do this all the time to keep them up and running. That's what you want to do with suspension stuff, because they are expensive parts on a bike. Then for the air sleeve, put your hand underneath and then just spray this as much as possible inside. Scoop it in there, and then what you want to do is that and just shake it all about. And any oil that's inside or grease, you know, it'll break it all down, and then the excess, just let that drain in there. I'm going to wipe the floors after anyway. But that's what I mean. See if you've got carpet or something you're looking to do this, get a mat down or oil mat or something, but this is lino, so I can go for it with good wee cleaner. And then this is where your wooden dowels come into play. So use your wooden dowel and push, but make sure you've got thin enough wooden dowels that fit underneath this part here. Do not hit the seals. Do your best to not hit them seals. You hit the seals, you're going to have to replace them. You probably will be replacing them anyway if you've never done this before. So as you can see, our good bit of grease come out, and you want to keep doing this until there's no grease at the bottom, and you'll be able to see. So you will. There is great. We see if I can put this down here like this, so you can shine the light in. As you can see, there's a good bit of grease still down there. And the good thing is, when you're using wooden dowels, you're not gonna scratch any of this. If you scratch any of these units inside, they can let air in, and you can have leaks, and then you're going to have to buy a brand new Na2 air sleeve, and you don't want to do that because it's quite a lot of money. And just underneath here, it's getting a bit better now, nearly there. And you, as I said, you want to keep doing that until all the grease at the bottom is out, and then you can go over there with cotton bud, get all them out. And then whenever you've cleaned all inside there, what you want to do is get another cloth, and then just, I'm going to have to refill that bottle in a minute, and then just spray it, clean the outer surface, and then also clean the wee grooves in here, nice and clean. And then there, make sure you don't have any grease blocking them ports or anything. And then get your cotton bud, and then go into the wee parts here and just slide it around, which it'll get all that old grease out majority of the time. And that's what you want to do. That's pretty much what suspension service is just cleaning as you go. That's what you want to do. It's hard now the first time you do that to go to tackle this, but after a while you get used to it, and it gets easier the more you do it. If you've watched my previous videos, it was me just doing the forks while listening to music, while I was looking at the phone too, to find out what way Fox wanted you to do it and stuff like that. And then I just decided to do this video to try and teach people out there to see if they want to learn how to do their forks. So that's why I'm doing this here, to teach us out there how to do it. Sure, it's not as hard as it looks. Once you have the right tools and stuff, and you've done it a few times, it will get easier and easier as you go. But I did inspect this part here. We're going to replace that sealer. It is just slightly stretched out, and there is a slight wee nick out of it. So this one is getting replaced, but I'm not going to replace every seal because it hasn't got that 200-hour service yet. But I am going to replace that bottom one because it's a very important seal. So that's one that's definitely getting replaced. Next, what we want to do is we're going to pour isopropyl alcohol, refill this up. I'm actually going to pour a good bit of this in. And next thing what we're going to do is, most of them lower legs there will still be a bit of oil residue in it, so what you want, as you can see, it's still dripping. What you want to do is cover this bottom part with your hand, and then just Get this. Get this wee spray bottle. As I say, cover the bottom part here, and then start spraying in. Till you feel it hit the bottom of your hand, and then cover the top, and then just start shaking it about, and that'll break any loose oil that's inside this. And then let it drip out into there. And get a lint-free paper towel. You're going to need quite a few of these, so get a few ready. And then just spray down them towels. And then before you put them in, clean the top part first with the edge of your finger. Alright, because we don't want any more dirt getting inside. Alright. Get this one here. Start putting in. Spray the top of it. Get your wooden dowel and then start pushing down. I'll give you a wee tip, do not put a lot of shop towels in, because you will get them trapped inside here. Do 1 or 2 towels max, because you can't get them trapped in there and you don't want that. And then get the 2 thin wooden dowels and get them underneath here and start pushing up. And as you can see here, it's drying all that oil and grease that's inside. And you're pretty much refreshing your lower legs. And then you've got bushings here. You've a bushing at the top, and then you've a bushing down here, another one here, and another one there. Just inspect that they're not worn out or anything, because you could need new bushings in. Fox charge you, I think it's £50 per bushing, so 50, that's £200. It would be for 4 new bushings in your lower legs. Or if you could buy new lower legs too, but new lower legs probably about 350. I would say, maybe a bit more, I'm not sure. I think it would be in the region of over 300 for a new set of these. But you could get your bushings refitted, and they're £50 each. They get done. And you would want to bring them to Fox to get your bushings done, because the tools to work on the bushings are over £1,000. But if you see what you're doing, if you're doing what I'm doing here and stuff, your forks will last a good while, and you should not need to change your bushings for a long time, depending on the riding conditions and stuff like that, and your service intervals. I mean, I've had these here from the year 2021 and they're still perfect. So when you get one side done, then just go over again and just make sure all the oil is out at the bottom completely. And you can also spray a wee bit underneath here that'll catch into the towel a bit, and then just put it at the top, just to make sure you're getting all that oil dried up, and you're cleaning this as you go. And this is why you want to get wooden dowels, so you don't scratch any parts and so you don't wreck your bushings or anything like that, because they're expensive. So get that one through here, getting through that over bushing right there. I'm in here there. There we go. And that's pretty clean now. Just check it out, right? Yep, near there. Now we'll go on to this side and do the same thing, cover. So cover here, hold underneath, and then start spraying like crazy till you feel it hit the bottom of your hand, and then start shaking all this about, and then get your shop towel. And as I said, before you put this in, clean the top, make sure there's no bits of dirt or debris or anything. And then get your over towel here. And get your wooden dowel. go. And then this here wooden dowel, you can actually push it underneath because it's thick enough. Because this is the damper side part. And we're near the top. And then you get the rest out of your fingers. And then there's that 4-weight oil band, but they're not too bad. I'm gonna get the light and check this. See how clean they are. That's not bad at all, you know. And that's not bad at all on that side. A few more wee runs and she'll be good. So, any of you ever want to tackle a Fox 38, it is doable. You just need to have the right side of mental tools and stuff like that. And I say it again, I hope this is helping someone out there, because I'm trying my best to guide you through this as best as possible. This is the way I do it. And I went over to start some of the tools you need at the start of the video, so I'm hoping it helps a few people out there. And as I said, you just want to like put one chop towel or two at max, because you could get it trapped down there and you'll never get it out. Because it's to pass the bushings too. So pretty much I would use about one. And then just spray it, just make sure you spray it a lot with alcohol. As you see where the sticks are, and then you get past that bushing. Be careful to not scratch your bushing or anything like that. And then we're just going to inspect it. And then when you're happy enough with the lower legs and stuff, what you can do for the final part, get them ready. And what you can do is start spraying them here, and then here. And then give it the wee wipe down here. And also it's a good idea, see these wee air release valves here that's on the Fox 38 forks, they'll not be on a performance model. You have to buy them separately on the performance model. This is Performance Elite, so you get the air bleed valves. Pretty much if you get air trapped underneath your seal or anything like that, your dust wiper seal, if you're going up to like high altitude mountains, you've got these here to release air and stuff. If your forks are feeling really harsh on, you hold them in for 10 to 15 seconds each, and that releases it. If you're doing like big park bike, like say if you're going over to like, we call that place over in America Whistler, like, and you're up in high Alps and stuff like that, that's what they're for. Now whenever I take the lower legs off, I always take these off just to give them a good wee clean. Make sure this is the right one. To take these off, you're going to need a 13mm socket. Alright. I just like taking them off and giving them a good wee clean. And then you torque them back up to about, I think it's 5.1 Newton meters or 5.6. It's not that tight, like. Just don't want to slip. And then put downward force. Right, so that one's kind of loose. And then this one here. There we go. And make sure you're putting force down on it. Do not do it without force, because you don't want to strip these out. The performance models come, they don't come with them or wee button things, they just come with like it's like we put an Allen key in if you want to take them off and give it a wee clean. But you can buy these indecently off Fox if you're looking to get that on the performance models. But the Performance Elite models, which my one is, you get the factory damper. That's what I love about the Performance Elite compared to the Performance, and then you're getting a better damper too. But the Performance forks are good too, it's just you need to run more volume tokens in them, just because they're only a wee slight medium tuna. And then in there, just make sure in there is clean, which it is. And then once you have these wee things out, just give them a good wee clean, you know. And it's good to always inspect them. Right, so that there is pretty much good to go. Lower legs and all's done. They're cleaned out, and then we're going to start soaking the foam rings and stuff and cleaning them out and stuff like that. Right, so next what you want to do is get your foam ring. and soak it in isopropanol alcohol. Don't need too much, just a wee bit. That's if you're reusing these, and you can actually see the oil coming off it already. And then just get this and start dabbing it, and it'll clean most of the oil off. As you can see there, that's coming up like white now. It's cleaning most of that bad stuff off it. That's what I mean, you can reuse these as long as you keep them clean. As you can see, the dirt just came off that already. Yeah, there, the difference. And flip around the other side. That's what you're looking for. You want it where you can see the white coming through. And also on the inside, just don't stretch it. Give it a good big clean. Just try and clean it as best you can if you're reusing them, but I highly recommend, you know, to replace them. But mine's in good enough condition where I can do this. And then at the end, another cloth, and then just completely dry it out. As you can see there, that's like new. As you can see like that there, it's like a new foam ring. I'm gonna get all that like isopropyl alcohol off it as best as you can. Good thing is with isopropyl alcohol, it dries really fast. Then when most that's dry, pop it in there. Your 20 weight Fox Gold oil, and then soak the foam ring. Make sure it covers all over it, and shake that all about, and then flip it upside down. Make sure that gets well soaked in. Be generous with this, like you want to have this nice and soaked up. And put that back on. And then put these back on here. And then start shaking that about. Get all the oil around inside that and outside. And open that back up just to see if it's covered enough of it. Yeah, it's well soaked in. Just gonna pour a wee bit extra, just a wee touch. There we go. Because you really want that soaked in, that stuff really good. And then get the other one, and then make sure your gloves are completely dry. You're not going to contaminate two different oils. Same thing again. This is your damper side one. We need to get one of these. Same thing again. Spread down my isopropyl alcohol. And then start by dabbing on it, and it will come up clean. Majority of the time it does. As you can see, the dirt coming off there. And you'll notice on your damper side it'll be less dirty than the actual air side, because the air side it uses more grease, where your damper it uses more like oil, if you know what I mean. So this one will take less time to clean up. As you can see here, it's near pure white already. You just want to double check with it. And then you get another clean cloth. And then completely dry that alcohol out. As you can see there, how clean that's came up there. The inside you're going to have the odd wee bit, but it's good to go. Like. Then when you get the full 200-hour service, you can replace every single seal and dust wipers and stuff like that. But I'm showing you can do it like this. You can see I just brought that really good. And if you're not sure about doing this yourself, then take it to a suspension expert, because if you feel that you're nervous about it, then yeah. Right, so what you want to do now is drop that in there. Get your 4-weight Motorex oil, which is rebranded Fox, and then just pour it in. The same thing, just make sure it's covering it completely. And what I like to do is flip it up again and make sure it does get well soaked in. And then while that's lid's on, make sure it gets around every single part. And there you go. And then let them sit and soak in. You can put them underneath the table or leave them on top, whatever you want to do. But that's the foam rings are going to be well soaked, ready to go in to these lower legs whenever they're good and ready. Now this is all completely clean and all, and your lower legs are clean. What you want to do is get your dust wipers. Now before you install these, just want to double check that this definitely is completely clean inside. Which it is. Yeah. Completely clean. It is. Right, next what you want to do, just make sure your lower legs are still completely clean. Before you install the dust wipers back on, just make sure everything is still completely clean. But before we install the dust wiper seals and stuff, we're going to install these wee air release valves back on. So we are, and you tighten them to 5 Newton meters max. Which we'll get that now. So you want a good quality torque wrench. And set it to 5 Newton meters. And make sure it's in Newton meters. You can change it all by this. So we're at Newton meters, and then get your wee bit on that you need. And you're sure, hold on. It's a smaller one, I think. Or that's right, they're on that. Getting tired. So that's that. Then to install these on, just start them by your fingers first. Do not just grab the tool to do it, always by your fingers first. Pretty much till they get tight. You don't need to put any grease on them threads or anything. They just go in dry. And then right, so do it till it stops. Alright, now make sure it's sitting there. And then get your torque wrench. Make sure it snaps in. And whenever you're doing these, it's best to do it on the floor. And then you can put your foot against here and then here, and it's only 5 Newton meters, you're not going to damage anything, and put downward force always when doing this. There we go. Same with this one. Get that solid beep. Five, and then this one. There we go, that's them torqued up. Set that there. Always reset your torque wrenches after. Right, next what you want to do is, you've got the lower legs all cleaned, they're ready to go, is you want to hit your dust wiper seals on. Now before we do that, you want to get a bit of saran butter. You can use saran butter, slick oleum or bees honey, as long as it's a high performance like suspension grease, and it's really good stuff. Do not cheap out on stuff when you're doing suspension work. Dust wiper seal, what we're going to do, just going to put a wee bit around the edge here. Alright. And also a wee tiny bit inside here. And then get your Fox seal driver kit, where you can get one cheaper on Amazon, but I prefer using the Fox stuff. Keep the springs off while you're doing this. I'll explain that in a minute. So all you need to do is start it first with your hand, and then get a hammer with a plastic end on it, and then just give it a tap. And then the same, say, with this one too. Put a bit of saran butter around the edges. Just a bit generous with it. And the same for the inside. And put onto your dust wiper seal driver kit. Alright. And then firstly start it by your hand. And then hit it. Once you hear that solid hit, you know it's in flush, and then inspect the edges. Make sure it's completely flush the whole way around on both sides, which it is. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this saran butter back over here a minute. Set that there. Dry our hands. Now, for the air side, and the damper side, you want to put the 4-weight oil. So here's the foam ring 4-weight oil, and what we're going to do is, that's been soaking a good bit, we're going to get this now. Hate the smell of that oil, like it's really bad stuff. So you know this is your damper side because you've got all your rebounds and all here. Usually it's always the right hand side, okay, in case you didn't know. And then just double check that that is completely flush, which it is. And then what you want to do is get your foam ring and just sliding here. Start with one side in and start rolling. Do not twist it. If it twists, just restart it again. It's handier if you have it up like this, leaning on a wee table or workbench or anything. And then start the other bit here, and it should pop in. And make sure it's definitely not twisted on you. And you just pop it in there. It's still twisted, so you need to just pop that back out a bit. And then go this way and make sure it's gonna go. Yeah, I've been taking that back out because it is twisted. this might happen to you, so if it does, just be patient. Just take it back out and start again. Alright. Start this side here. Just making it hard for me because I'm recording. It always happens, but see when you don't record, it goes in smoothly. Happens all the time. And stretch that out there. Make sure it's going to go. And make sure it's in. Make sure it's not twisted, which it's not. And then what you want to do is get it and just make sure it's even the whole way around. Alright. Just double check that it is. That is. And that's what you want to do, just make sure that is completely like flush in with all the rest of it and it's not twisted on you or anything. Right, so that's that one. Put the lid back on that oil. And then before we get that over foam ring, dry your hands because these take two separate oils. So completely dry out. Right. So get your 20 bit gold now for your air side. Here, and she is good and soaked. And then the same thing, your foam ring, and start by one side, push in with your finger, and then start roll with that other side there. This one's actually going in a lot smoother. That's the way it should be anyway, but just make sure it doesn't twist on you. Just push in with your other finger, and there we go. Let's see, make sure that's alright. Just make sure that's not twisted. And just do that with your finger, just make sure that it's definitely not twisted on you. If you got it twisted, there's problems. And there's not. Yep, we're good the whole way around. Now, put the lid back on this. I'm gonna pour them oils out in a minute. But what I wanna do is get one more of these. Need to get more. What we're going to do now is just dry our fingers, and what we're going to do is inside here we want to soak it with strong butter on both sides. So get a good bit of strong butter and put it at the top of the dust wiper seal inside. Alright, make sure it's well lubricated, and the same with this one too. And then let them sit. Now, what we're going to do is spray this. to do is we'll just clean this, get all that grease off here. Don't go near the dust wiper seal, just this bottom part. And then what I'll do is just gonna keep them up straight like that. Now what we're going to do is, don't want any fat contaminants or anything, oil or anything like that. Because we're going to grease these seals. But there's also one seal I need to replace, which I noticed, and this is what's good about the suspension servicing. You can see stuff like this. Which show you in a minute. This. I might need to go down and wash my hands to get these on. Let's see. Good enough. Right, very clean. Now this is the seal you don't need to grease. This is your sag indicator, so put that there separate. Now make sure all this is completely clean and dry, which it is. So we're going to install these seals, but we're going to put grease on them. So what you want to do, strand butter, make sure you put a good bit on it. Be generous with it. And we're going to put the first one on here. Alright, second one. Same thing. And put it on here. Make sure you don't rip these. And then start sliding them on. Alright. Don't worry about getting grease in here because we're going to be putting grease in there anyway. Right, next one. Quad ring seal at the bottom. Put plenty of grease in that too. Make sure it's strand butter or some other suspension grease. And then we're going to put it at the bottom here. Start by one side and then start by pulling over. And then what you can do is, to make sure it's not twisted, is get a flat end pick, get underneath the seal, and then just slightly do that and make sure you're not twisted, but you're not. As you can see there. Now these here ones here, definitely need to grease these. So put plenty of grease on that. And this here thicker one, the thicker one goes to the thinner threads, okay? And all you want to do is get it at the edge with your finger and it'll slide on, and then just push it down. You know what, see before that, there's still a wee bit of red Loctite on that. I don't want that on that. So let me just do that quickly. Don't want red Loctite anywhere on that, so I'm going to clean that a wee bit more. I'll reapply the grease. Just want to make sure there's no red Loctite on that whatsoever. So that's the last thing you want. Just make sure there's no on it. Yeah, there's none. Right, so this here is definitely going to get a good clean with more alcohol. Definitely get all that red Loctite off as best you can. Alright, so reapply the grease, and as I said, the thicker O-ring goes on to the thinner threads. So push that on there and roll it, and she'll go on. Just make sure there's grease on it, and then dry the threads are then, because red Loctite has to go back on, but make sure there's enough grease in that wee O-ring. And then this O-ring here, make sure you put enough grease on that. Same thing, push it on here until you get to near the bottom of the thread, and then get your flat edge pick and start by here and roll it evenly round, and it should go on, which it has. And then you can get your pick underneath and get underneath right here and make sure you're not twist it, which we're not, so that's good. And then just dry the threads for that grease and stuff. Then make sure the seal is completely clean of old dirty grease or anything you can. Make sure it's off. There's a wee bit of grease there. So the cotton bud's the best way to get in there to get the old dirty grease out. And then get the fresh grease and start applying it. Just want to have enough on here. And this goes on top of your piston assembly here. Alright, and make sure you're not twisted. If that drops in the thing, you've got to redo it, because you could have wee bits of hair or anything, or dust. So we're going to need to redo that. Need to clean this grease all off again, because I dropped it, and you can't have any dirt going inside these suspension units. Alright, so make sure it's completely, dry of that alcohol. So it is, and then reapply the grease and don't drop it this time. That was my mistake. Maybe too much grease, but sure. Alright, put it on top of the piston seal and roll it. It might twist on you, which it has. See the way it's twisted? Then what you want to do is get your flat edge pick, and then what you want to do is you want to go underneath it. Alright, and as you can see here, I just fixed it, but also what I like to do is go underneath and just do that, and just make sure that you are not twisted the whole way around. Alright, and we're not, we are completely good. Alright, and then what we're going to do, you're going to put a bit of grease at the top here. Very liberal amount, not too much. We're also going to grease the shaft here. Very important that you put strong butter on this. Alright. Then we're going to put a bit of strong butter underneath this part here. And then I'm going to put a bit of strong butter inside this. And the way to do that is get a wooden dowel. And a wee bit there, get inside there. And then also get your wooden dowel and put a bit inside there too. Alright. And then what you want to do is slide this one up first and make sure it is nice and freely sliding, which it is. Then this part here, make sure you do not nick this, level it in, and make sure you're free clean, and there you go. And then this should, the glide ring hanging, this should slide up and down nice and freely. That's one unit, which it is. As you can see there, how smooth that is. That's what you want. Alright. Now, what we want to do, we want to put grease inside this. So, get your wooden dowel and start sliding this inside. Only a wee bit, not too much. Just enough that the piston and all is going to move lovely and smoothly and operate smoothly. The way I do it, I put some at the top, in the middle, and in the bottom, and spread it all evenly around. Alright, and then what we need to do is get the bullet tool. Also put a wee bit of strong butter on that bullet tool. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to put the bullet tool here at the bottom. Now to get this through here, need to be very careful. Push this down until find the hole at the bottom here, level it in, and you'll see this coming out, right? But see, before you push this through with your finger, just let that hold there, it'll still stay in place. Just put a wee bit of extra grease at the top, and then see with your finger, while pushing down on the bullet tool, push this through, alright? And then here at our release, what you're going to do is, if you can't grip it with your finger, get a paper towel and just grab it here. Push down the top here, there we go. And then, there you go, nice and smooth. And that's rebuilding your assembly and stuff like that. Well, NA2R sleeve, what the fucks call it. Next, what you want to do, I've took my gloves off here because I'm going down to wash my hands in a minute and get a wee drink. Take these shaft clamps out, alright? And what we want to do is, we want to clean both surfaces of the, I think it's 9 or 10 millimeter shaft in it. Come on. Alright, and then this one here. And then get yourself a lint-free paper towel. Start by cleaning. You need to do this every time that you get oil on these or grease, because they'll not work. Trust me, don't try and do this without cleaning these. You do not want to scratch any parts of them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to install this back in nice and about there. Always make sure there's enough gap to put the shaft and all through. And then for the base stud, which is this part here, is we're going to tighten that to 4.5 Newton meter, but it needs to have red Loctite. So it does, which we're going to get now. Now that we have that fully down, the shaft and stuff, before you put it back together, make sure that it slides up and down freely. Do not cover the bar. See here, I'll trap around. Do not do that. Do this, alright? And just make sure that it is sliding freely, which it is. And make sure you're fully extended down as far as it goes. And then we're going to install the base stud, and it's, I think it's 4.5 millimeter, yeah. Yep, 263 Loctite. So 4.5. So let me see, 4.5 with a 12 millimeter crow's foot, 90-degree angle, 4.5 Newton meters. Make sure it's on the Newton meter part. It is. Usually I would wear gloves, but I'm going down to wash my hands anyway in a minute. So what we want to do, make sure this is fully extended down. Clean that strong butter off. We're going to apply more strong butter after, but before we apply it, need to clean this whole unit or it'll just spin and it'll not grip onto the shaft clamps. Make sure this is completely free, and see the way you're holding here, use this hand here where there's been no grease, because you'll have grease here. Dry that off here and then put it underneath, and then what you want to do is clamp that good and snug, not over tight that you're going to crush anything, although Fox shaft clamps are really good. You rarely do that. And then you just want to make sure that them threads are clean of any grease, but you want to make sure that there's enough grease on that wee O-ring. So what I like to do, just to be sure, is get yourself a wee wooden dowel and then just go over the wee O-ring like that, just to make sure that it definitely has coating in it. You don't want to have dry seals doing this. As I said, if there's any on the threads, just take it off, right? So we need a wee bit of red Loctite, which is 263, and then I like to pour a bit on the cloth first, just a wee dribble, just to make sure it's flowing out freely. And then what we're going to do is do not get it on the O-ring, just get it onto the thread itself and just roll a bit of it. Alright, and then that wee part there, there we go. Just stretch it over there, and then just start by blowing it, just to dry it in a bit quicker. But as I said, do not get any on that O-ring. And see, before we install it, what we're also going to do is make sure that this is fully extended down, and then we're going to get a wee bit of isopropyl alcohol, because there could be grease inside the threads here. And then we're going to dry inside the threads, make sure there is no grease left on it or anything, which there's not. It's completely clean, and to be double sure, you can just do that, you know, get all them. Alright, just a bit double sure. Now get your base stud, make sure it's dried in, because we don't want any on the O-ring. And then what we're going to do, make sure this is fully extended down, and then we're going to drop that in and slowly do it with your fingers first. Do not grab a tool. They're very fine threads, and it will start getting tight because this red Loctite is strong. So what you want to do is get your 12mm, do not grab your torque wrench yet, tighten this by finger tight first until it starts getting tight where you can't actually do it with your fingers. You can start feeling that getting tight now, like, yep, you need to start using this. So get your 12mm open wrench, and then just start by doing this until it stops, and then get your torque wrench at a 90-degree angle to 4.5 Newton meters of torque. Which we're near the end, I can feel it. Yep, we're nearly there. Always feel here too while you're tightening to make sure it's not spinning when it stops, you know. Make sure. Now, get your torque wrench at a 90-degree angle, 4.5 Newton meters. We're nearly there. Just that solid beep I'm looking. There we go. And that is how you fully assemble and rebuild your air shaft. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to dry that excess grease off, and then I'll show you what to do after. because we're going to reapply grease anyway, but I'm just trying this. Don't be tempted to push down on that. You can trap air inside the system if there's not air pushed into it by this valve, so do not cycle that damper a few times. I mean the air shaft. Now what we're going to do, we can install these here lower leg wee springs on top of the wee seal part, you know, your dust wiper seals. These here can get installed onto that, and same with this one too. You just push it on and then slowly go around it with your finger and it'll go on, no problem at all. As you can see there, lovely and even whole way around, and still keep them up like that by my hands. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure this air side is just completely clean inside. Put that under there. Then what we're going to do is just put this through one more time and make sure it's completely clean inside. And then also see at the bottom of your stanchions, because you can get a bit of oil and you can see there's still a bit of grease inside. Very important that you do this, but wear gloves. I'm just doing because I'm going to wash my hands in a minute anyway. Just doing this to save a bit of time. And then double check inside there is completely clean, which it is near enough. So what I'm going to do now is hit this one more time. I'm going to spray a good lot in this because this is the last run I'm putting through on it. And then that side too. And that there's good enough clean. And then always make sure the top of the threads are completely clear of any grease. And then get your bike stand or whatever you're going to use to support this. Your stanchions up here like this. Right, lock that into place. And then we're going to, because I can see clearly here, we're going to give it one more pass here. Just to get it lovely and clean, you know. Alright, so we're going to give this lovely and clean. And we're going to push again. Make sure it is completely clean. If any old grease, anything on all out. And then just double check through that you're completely clean, which we are. And dry this here. And then, before you install this in, hit the air side stanchion. And give it a good clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install this in, but what I'm going to do is put these gloves on first. Go. Hopefully you can see on the camera, you know. So to install this air sleeve, what you want to do is put grease over these O-rings and make sure they're not dry. Alright, be generous. And then this O-ring here, do not push the bottom of the shaft, whatever you do. Like the cycle, the air shaft, do not push it. You can get more air trapped in it, you can get what's known as suck down. So, and then see these ports, these holes, make sure they're completely clear of any grease. But make sure that O-ring at the bottom is greased up. It's very important. And the O-ring there is definitely greased. Alright, make sure there's no Loctite or anything. Take that off there, a wee bit of dirt. It looks awesome. Now, what we're going to do is, before we install it, we're going to re-grease the shaft here, because we don't need to clamp it again. And then we're going to grease this part too, so it slides in like butter, but do not block the ports. What you can do with the ports is get a cotton bud and just go around it like that, and make sure none of them is blocked. Now, before we put it in, get a wooden dowel and make sure there's no splintering coming off yet. And inside the air shaft, put Schramm butter inside this stanchion tube, in the middle of the way up and at the top too, here. And put some here. Alright, and then the other side, put a few in here too. And that should be good enough. Just gonna put a wee bit more at the top. And that should be enough. Alright, let me just have a wee look. Yeah. And then to install this here, you'll know it's the air side, it'll say Evil extra volume, but it's always the left hand side, you know, your air spring, majority of the time anyway. And then your damper is on the right hand side. So what I want to do here is, before we put this in, I'm going to hold it here, but we're going to like roll it. Alright, so at the back we're going to roll and push at the same time. And you will feel that going in, alright? As you can feel that. And then just slide the rest up. Now, if it gets stuck, just push at the back here. And it will go, and you'll hear a snap. See when you get to here, you'll hear a wee click. Do not push on the shaft, push here. Once you hear that snap, that's you in place. And then what you want to do is, very important, is you put this on here. Now, start it at the back, so I'm going to start this at the back, spread it open. You see, show you now. And start it at this side, spread it open. And then start sliding here and go round evenly with your thumb. Do not scratch your stanchion, whatever you do. Keep going round, let go, keep going round, and you'll hear a snap right about now. Right, that's you locked into place. And what you want to do after that is hold here and just pull back and make sure that shaft is completely extended out, which it is. Alright, so that's how you install your air shaft. Then what you want to do, get your air shaft. So now that we've got the air shaft in, before we do anything, we need to add 3cc of 20 weight gold into the top of this here. Okay, so, but we'll get our 20 weight gold. Alright, and we're going to add 3cc. Just want to make sure, is that what I've wrote? Because I've rewrote this, I went on the Fox's diagram. So see your air side, you put 20cc gold into when you're installing the lower legs, but see at the top, you put 3cc in the top. And I'm just making sure. Yeah, yep, add 3cc. Just double checking. You always want to double check with us. So get a syringe like this here, alright, and you want to add 3cc, but I'm going to put it past 3cc because I'm going to do something. Right. If it doesn't come out straight away in the syringe, tilt your oil bottle like this, and then try again. And there you go. Let's put up. We need more than that. So. There's about 4 cc's, we need that about that anyway. So what I like to do is, with a bit of cc, is, see before we install this back on, we want to take this off and we want to put a bit of Schramm butter on it. because we're just taking the seal off and re-greasing them, but that one's definitely getting replaced. There's no two ways about that. Where did I put that? I had something like there. So these are easy to take off. You just put that and then put your finger there and then just roll it off, you know, and then just give it a good clean with a cloth first. Make sure your threads are clean on this. Alright, which is completely clean anyway, pretty much. What we're going to do is we're going to add a bit of SRAM butter to this seal. Alright, and then we're going to just put it back on and you just roll it. And then roll it and it'll go back into place. And just make sure you're not twisted or anything, and then just do that, which we're not twisted. We're good. And then what we're going to do is just dry the threads. Make sure there's no grease on it. Alright. Now, get your volume tokens and click them together. Make sure they're completely clean, which they are. And then what I like to do is to add a wee bit of oil here, right? I'm going to start moving it now, it's just a wee bit stuck. There we go. Alright, that should be enough because this stuff is really sticky and slidey, but it is good stuff. And then just a wee bit here. Alright, just to get that started, and then get this part here, click it into place. Alright. Now, we need to add 3 cc's of 20 weight gold into the top part of this. So what we need to do is get the syringe and that excess 20 weight. We're going to put it down until it gets to about the 3 mark. So, touch more. Let's see what we're like. Perfect, right on the 3 cc. So come over here, drop it in without hitting the threads, and there we go. And then push it up again and push it through to make sure you get all that in. Just to make sure you don't have any on the threads, dry your fingers before you install this top cap. Just dry inside them threads, make sure there's nothing in them. Put your cap back on, and then drop this in your top cap assembly. You've got the 3 cc in here, and then when the lower edge you put more stuff in. Now you go anti-clockwise till you hear a click. You will hear a wee click. You hear a wee click, then start going clockwise. And you know you're on the threads because you'll be able to do it mostly by your fingers. See, well, it will be a bit slippy, but you will be able to do most of it by your fingers. But I'm just going to grab the wee socket. So it's the 32mm. Alright. And then once it stops, get your torque wrench, which should stop now. And we need to do the top cap to 20 at that 4 Newton meters, which is a good bit of torque. Has to be like that. 28.4 Newton meters. 28.4. Oh, you go down. 28.4 Newton meters. And make sure it's on Newton meters. I'm just double checking. You have top cap 20 at that. Now, this free here like this. Let's see if I can put that free enough to tighten. Just make sure I can get enough torque on it. If not, you can always put it on the floor, but okay, downward pressure and then hold here. Just make sure we can get this to the right torque. I just want to get that perfect. There we go. And then when you're finished with that part, just give that stanch a wee wipe. Alright, and that's how you rebuild an air shaft, and that's how you install it. Now, what you can do now is get the inner core valve And what I like to do is just inspect it and make sure there's no tears on the wee seal and stuff, and just give it a good clean and it's in good condition. And then get your valve core and drop that in, and then tighten this in. There we go. You'll know when you tighten, like finger tighten and quarter turn, like till it goes snug, you know it's not going to come out on you. Then this here wee seal underneath, there's a wee seal in here. We're going to pop that out and just give it a good wee clean. There we go, come on. There we go. So spray a wee bit of isopropyl alcohol. Give it a good wee clean. Cotton bud. Here, just make sure it is clean. As you can see the dirt? That's why you want to do that. And then what you want to do is put a wee bit of grease on this. Don't need much, just a top cap seal, so it's not that important really. And here, and push that down. Alright. And then what you do is, so it doesn't go under the wee frizz, just dry it a wee bit. There we go. Now, dry my hands. And then reset the torque wrench down to the lowest, which is 4 Newton meters on this one. It goes right up to 80 Newton meters, but there's 80. But it goes right down to 4 at the lowest value. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to turn this here. Like so. One thing what we do not want to forget, take the rolls off because I don't want any shroud butter on this. We're going to clean the stanchion one last time on the right hand side. There we go, just the stanchion. And then here's the sag ring indicator. Put that on now before you forget. This is one seal you do not need to grease. And then just slide it up because that's your sag measurement. Alright, put it up to the top. Now, because it touched by my shot, we're going to dry out a wee bit there. There we go. Right. Now, what we're going to do, is very important, is this seal here is definitely getting replaced, and I'm going to use my fingers for this because I don't want this seal getting wrecked or anything. So we need to get our seal kit here. We need to take this off. We don't want any dirt. We want a brand new cloth. So we do. So that's the NA2R, so don't need that kit. We need the grip 2 damper, we need that. So there's a certain seal in here for the size. So what I'm going to take off is this one here because it is slightly nicked and I can see it is slightly damaged, so I'm definitely replacing that one. See if you can see it in the camera. There is a slight nick, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but we're definitely replacing that. So we just need one seal, I guess, because as I said, we're not replacing all the seals. If we were doing a 200-hour service, we'd be stripping all this down and taking all the rebound and the shim stacking all apart, but we don't need to do that. But I'm going to get the phone up in a minute. I'm going to actually show you what this looks like inside too when you strip all this down. And then your compression assembly and all too, we'll strip that down another day when we're doing the full 200-hour. But this will hopefully help you out here of what's expected when you're doing this here type of work here. But I highly suggest, if you're scared to do it, do not attempt it, or if you've never blade brakes or anything before, like something simple, don't attempt it. And it is highly dangerous too when you're taking the air and all the air chamber. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this open here. I'm going to get a seal bag because we're going to keep in. So I'm going to keep all that nice and good. I don't want to lose them seals. Now for this seal, now that's the bad seal, so we'll put that there. and don't want to lose any of these, so see that wee bit off her. There we go. There we go. Now I want this part open too. Right, so you always get a brand new glide ring, but this one's in very good condition, doesn't need replaced. It will go in the 200-hour service, so we're going to take these seals out nice and carefully because we need to get that right side. Kind of see it anyway, but just want to take it out and make sure all these are in. Definitely don't want to lose any of these seals, but it shows you how much seals is actually in the damper unit itself. Alright, make sure there's nothing in that. I can see it now, it's that one there, but we'll spread it all out and I'll show you what all needs changed, like whenever you're doing a 200-hour. So there's quite a lot here, we'll count them, just for the grip 2 damper. So some of them will stick together, they always do. Just do that. So alright, we're going to count these, and then your glide ring too. So for the grip 2 damper, you're going to need to change. Let me get these all in order here. When you do a 200-hour service, sorry if I'm repeating myself, I'm just trying to remember all this as I go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 19 seals plus a glide ring, so there's 20 seals just for your damper alone, which is a lot. And then how I item up is I put them beside the old one, and you know that is the brand new seal for that. It's the same thickness too, for this bottom part. So this is the new seal and this is the old seal, so that goes out there, and we're going to put all these back in the bag. And we're going to grease it and stuff, but before we do that we're going to take the other seals off and re-grease them and stuff. But as you can see, there is quite a lot of seals when you're doing a full 200-hour service. There's quite a lot that needs changed in them. So what we're going to do, make sure there's no holes in this bag. I'm actually going to put just all the Fox seals in here, keep them nice and good. They're not seals you want to ever lose, so I'm going to put them away neatly somewhere after I do this. So what you want to do now is, that's a brand new seal that definitely did need replaced, because there's the old one there and there is a wee nick out of it, as I can see. But definitely put that away there and get rid of this storm eye fibres. So see, to actually take these whole units apart, and here, see your VVC is your variable valve controller, and there's a wee leaf spring in here. I'm going to show you that in a minute. I'm actually going to put the Creator Edition camera on this here at the minute, and there's a wee light and all, and then we'll show you how to bleed the damper and stuff. I'm actually going to do that now. Hold on to turn this off.